I call on Stuart Stevenson to wind up the debate. Minister.
Thank you, Presiding Officer. A very interesting debate brought to the Chamber by Sandra White, for which I too add my thanks. The reference to Commonwealth's conversation that was published last week, I have to confess I have not read that, but I think I might be inspired to seek it out and see what it says. Sandra White, in her contribution, made reference to morals and ethics for the 21st century, and I think it's fair to say that's a strand that ran through many of the contributions tonight, that it is not an association that is essentially an economic association. It is not an association that is a military association. It is an association of people who share values, who want to build a world which is fair to everyone. So I think in introducing that in her opening remarks, Sandra White was absolutely on the money. Karen Gillan focused on science and development, as indeed did Willie Coffey, and talked, of course, about the need for access to knowledge in many parts of the Commonwealth, and the role that Scotland can play, and the Commonwealth as a whole can play, in ensuring that countries with less capability than we may have the support that we can give. Graphically illustrating, of course, some of the health threats in one of our close partners, Malawi. And in particular, I think focusing on academic links that benefit the academics in Scotland through increasing their knowledge base, but benefit countries around the Commonwealth with the knowledge that we can transfer to them. And of course, that is something that is done relatively outside the parameters of the patents system, which Willie Coffey, I think it was Willie Coffey, yes, made reference to, which is sometimes quite a severe inhibition to the useful transfer of intellectual property for good social and health purposes. Karen also, of course, raised one of my particular ministerial interests of climate change, and talked about the role of engineers in particular in generating electricity. And I think when we talk about technology, we sometimes kind of think that it's always the advanced computer stuff, the really high precision engineering. I think it's very interesting how some quite simple things are making real differences to people. When I was in Barcelona for a pre-meeting for the Copenhagen Climate Change Conference, I saw, for example, a solar furnace, which is a portable sort of almost umbrella that you can carry around in a bag, set up, put the kettle in the middle of it, and 20 minutes later it's boiled simply by sun power alone. There are many innovations that are actually quite simple, inexpensive, and can be replicated without vast industrial infrastructures that will be of use to countries around the world in the Commonwealth. Willie Coffey, as I said, made reference to patents, and in particular highlighted the role that GSM phones across Africa have had. Occasionally there is an advantage in not having an existing infrastructure, because you leap forward over the old technologies to new technologies, and the Commonwealth can be a vehicle for doing that. Ted, I think, spent rather over much of his time talking about Tommy Sheridan. My view of Tommy Sheridan is that he's actually his own worst enemy, which, when you consider the competition, is a terrific achievement. As someone who is 1.5 generations away from Gaelic and regrets having virtually none of it, it was interesting to hear what he said about work on the Maori language. And of course, Jamie Stone has been engaged with the Commonwealth through his work in the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association for some considerable time. You talked about many people joining the Commonwealth, and I think one of the interesting things that really illustrates the value of the Commonwealth was when Rwanda joined the Commonwealth in 2009, a country, of course, with no historic connection to the United Kingdom, a country that was a colonial outpost for Belgium and Germany. And I think that shows how the idea of the Commonwealth is much bigger than perhaps anyone imagined when the Commonwealth was first dreamt up. So it is something that is glue that binds together many different countries. Later this year, of course, we'll see the Commonwealth Games in Delhi, and we'll see the transfer of the host status from India to Scotland. 2014 will bring the Commonwealth on a sporting field very directly to Scotland, show what we can contribute to the world as a country on the field of sport, and as somewhere that can organise that sort of event. We've always, as a country, looked beyond our borders. We may not have sent many convicts to Australia, but because I do family research, I know of this and many other things. One of my distant cousins, I think he's a first cousin 4 times removed, was a Member of Parliament in Australia 130 years ago, I hasten to add. We're still managing to find the money to fund an international development budget, increasing it from 6 million to 9 million in 2010-2011. Part of Scotland's contribution to the global fight against poverty. My colleague, the Minister for Culture and External Affairs, will be publishing 4 components of a programme of engagement with South Asia before the summer recess, so we're looking to build further links with India, with Pakistan and South Asia more generally. Copenhagen, a great disappointment, I think, to many people, but nonetheless an opportunity to make terrific links between different countries, which will serve us well as we take the climate change agenda. Because in sub-Saharan Africa, the threat of climate change is very real and is very imminent. It's of a different character from the difficulties we would experience from climate change. And there is absolutely running through that agenda a moral core to the need for us to take action on the climate, to help people around the Commonwealth, to help people around the world. Presiding Officer, it has been a first-class debate. It barely scratches the surface of an immense subject. It's a subject which we will debate again and again, I'm sure, and always to good purpose. Thank you very much.
I now close this meeting of Parliament.